Which of the following is not an important function of iron? Remember that iron is an element that is found, also known as Fe, in heme or hemoglobin. So it's found in the heme, which is part of the hemoglobin, which is part of your red blood cells. And there's different roles of iron. It's mostly known for its transport of oxygen throughout the red blood cells. So we have our red blood cells, we have our hemoglobin, which is our iron. So there's other functions as well. We want to find from this list which one is not a function of iron. So option A says ATP synthesis. And ATP, which we know is our source of energy, so energy, and the synthesis is the creation of it. This is a component of the functioning of iron because it's a component of cytochromes, which is in the electron transport chain. And this is essential for the ATP production in the mitochondria, and iron is involved in this role. Iron is a constituent of the inner part of the mitochondria, which is where this ATP synthesis occurs. So iron is involved in this process, and since we're looking for which one is not a function of iron, we can eliminate option A. Option B is discussing oxygen transport, which is the hallmark purpose of what iron does in the body. Iron is part of heme and hemoglobin in the red blood cells, and the big part of the functioning of red blood cells is to transport oxygen for where it needs to go within the tissues. So oxygen transport, definitely a function of iron, so we can eliminate it because we're looking for which one is not a function. Option C says blood clotting. And now you might be a little unsure when you hear about this with the blood clotting because you might think iron, you might think the red blood cells. Is this involved in clotting? However, remember that when you see about clotting, this is a main function of platelets. Platelets are involved in clotting, not the red blood cells specifically. And also, as an aside, studies have found that low levels of iron have been linked to clotting issues. So if you have iron or higher levels of iron, this might be related more so to the opposite of clotting, which would be longer bleeding. So for this question, this would be a correct answer because this is not a function of iron. So we could go with option C. Let's just take a look at option D here, which is antioxidation. Antioxidation counteracts the oxidation process, which is a process that allows for free radicals. And these free radicals could potentially be harmful and toxic to the body and eventually lead to cancer. So toxins and potentially cancer. So an antioxidation helps to prevent this process and keep our bodies healthy and free from toxins, and this is in fact a function of part of what iron does. And these enzymes both help to protect with this antioxidation process, so the antioxidation. And iron has a cofactor role with these two enzymes and therefore is involved in the antioxidation process. And since the question is asking which is not an important function of iron, we can eliminate option D. Option C, blood clotting, is still the correct choice as being not an important function of iron.